A traditional tattoo style is coming to the United States after being forced out of Japan by the negative history around tattoos. The Japanese traditional style, or erizume in Japanese, has not seen much change since its creation in 1607 Japan. With bold, bright colors and a traditional history behind it, nothing had to change.
The strong, distinctive part of Japanese tattooing is a lot of it has to do with the background because there's, you know, elements in the background which could be waves, wind, clouds, rocks, and that's kind of the glue that ties the whole tattoo together. Um, and what's common in a Japanese tattoo is like one subject, like a tiger or a snake, and then you adorn areas around them with common flowers often. And also, Japanese tattooing is is kind of seasonally themed as well. So that makes it a very distinctive style of tattooing. Um, it's also very timeless because Japanese tattooing that was done say 100 years ago, you're going to see that exact type of tattooing in modern times, and that's what I model my work from. And 100 years from now, people doing the Japanese work, it should look like it looks today and looked like 100 years ago.
I think what's really strong about them is just like the saturation of color versus black. They have a I personally think they have a minimum color palette. So whenever they put all those heavy blacks and that little bit of color, it's just so eye catching you can't miss it.
Tattoos have been a part of Japan's culture throughout almost all of their recorded history, but they have been looked down upon through recent history and outlawed in 1872 and 1936, only to be legal again in 1946 after World War II. But they are still frowned upon in today's society.
So actually, I know that they didn't particularly like them. Most of the time, it was like a symbol of status, actually, that like they would mark their criminals with tattoos. A lot of people get those like bands or like wristbands, ankle bands. Those would signify that like you did a crime and you have like a life sentence. So they still, a lot of older Japanese people find tattoos to be marks of like yakuza criminals. I know there's bathhouses that traditionally don't like people who have tattoos. They won't let them bathe in the same waters as people who don't have tattoos. So it's a little frowned upon, but as time progresses, it's getting more accepted, but it's still a little controversial, I guess. Yeah.
For what I hear, they don't like it at all. They look down upon it. It's more like a gangster type thing.
With tattoos being used to mark criminals in the older history of Japan, experts say a more recent reason as to why they are looked down upon is the association with the infamous Japanese mob group called the Yakuza. The Yakuza gained popularity in Japan after the end of World War II. The Yakuza members would use this style of tattoo as a form of intimidation to other people and dedication to their criminal lifestyle. But with help from the internet, the style has gained popularity in the USA.
It's gotten a lot more popular. I would say about 20 years ago, I started seeing customers coming in asking for the basics in Japanese tattooing. Like they were asking for koi fish, dragons, tigers, and I just saw a trend starting to build. And over time, I got many more customers. People would see the work on somebody else and they'd refer them to me. And then, along with business for me getting bigger with the Japanese work, I saw it becoming popular in tattoo magazines, and this was pre-internet. And so you'd start seeing larger Japanese pieces in those, and then some books dedicated to Japanese tattooing. And then, when the internet came about, it got even bigger. And, along that time, there were people, including me, that were starting to really specialize in just that. But yeah, I've seen it just explode over the last 20 years, and it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger.
These tattoo artists almost always do it as their exclusive style. Some of them even had to go through an apprenticeship that usually lasts 3 to 4 years just to train and learn how to create these tattoos. Once they become more experienced, they can usually charge between $175 to $250 an hour. These artists also usually only do large scale work that can take up to 50 hours to complete and have a 6 month wait time just to get started due to the high demand. The time, money, and skill required for this tattoo style puts it in a league of its own. For NT Daily, I'm Ethan Douglas.